Call the committee of the whole meeting for March the 10th. First order of business, call for pecuniary interest regarding the agenda. I don't believe there's anything here. We do not have any in closed session, so we'll go right to the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions? Haven't seen none. Can I have a motion to accept the agenda as is?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. All in favor? That is carried. So, we'll get right into it. 4.1, Forest presentation. See, Donna, would you like to introduce your guest there, please?
I would certainly. We usually have Nikki's our stakeholder relations manager for Fortis, and in the last 4 years, I think we've developed a really good relationship. I know she can call me if I need something, if she needs something, I can call Nikki if I need something, and or I want to understand something or something's going on or have to report something quick and get her advice on it. We with Fortis have had an exemplary relationship these last 4 years, and I always invite Nikki to come in the new year to discuss Fortis' role and answer any questions that she has. And I can tell you, as an example, when we couldn't shut the street lights off on the boulevard there last year, her team worked tirelessly to figure that out and to figure out why it was going on and to figure out, because we have old street lights, so it's not as easy as flick a switch, and they did figure it out and figured out what to do with it. And of course, as we know, the street lights aren't on 24/7 now. So, Your Worship, I'd like to present Nikki from Fortis, Nicole Smith. Sorry, I call you Nikki.
No,
sorry, I should be more formal. Nicole Smith from Fortis, and the floor is yours. Nicole.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Yeah, welcome.
Council, thank you for having me today. I'll just talk a little bit about me, not that it's going to be about me, but my role and what I do for Fortis. I've been with Fortis for 15 years, and I deal with municipalities specifically. And of course, the town of Thorsby is in my area that I look after. So I look after primarily the west side of Edmonton. I go all the way as far as North Whitecourt and West Hinton, and then everything up to Edmonton. So a little bit of an area there. What I would like to say is I am the primary contact for the town, and mainly through Donna, but also I open to Mayor and Council as well. Any questions, any concerns, if you see anything, I'm always available for questions as well. So today, with the new elections that just happened, this is a great opportunity for me to come in and just explain who we are, what we do, and where we fit in the industry. And I'll start with that. So I'll just kind of know that you're good. I'll just kind of motion over when you need to flip a slide here. So, so I know this is a little bit small, but the industry is very complicated. The electricity industry is very complicated, and this is a great slide to kind of showcase all the different components that are part of the electricity industry. As you guys are aware, you have a power plant that's really close by, so you're familiar with the generation and how that works. And up in the corner is the generation plant. And so generators are primarily, they can be regulated, but they also can be deregulated. And our market is very complicated, and this is why I want to go through this slide, and then I'll get into some of the other components, like what we do as a distributor, what the transmission does, etc. So as a generator, those are going to be the big power plants that are going to generate the power in Alberta. And one of the things that we have a number of them, and then they, actually, if you could just go back to the one. Yep, okay, I flipped it. It was my fault because I flipped. And then from the power plant, the transmission lines is what comes out of the power plant and goes through the big power lines. So those are going to be your big towers, the big metal and wood transmission lines. Those are going to be the high voltage lines. So that is going to be your Altalinks and your ATCOs of the world. There's only two, well, there's more than two, but the main primary ones are going to be ATCO and Altalink. And so they're the big power lines. And then they own the substation. And the substation is what drops the power down so that the voltage can work and be served from us as a distributor to the homes and the businesses, okay? And so we land in that yellow portion where the yellow line is. What's interesting about this slide is before people could generate their own power, so that can be your solar panels on your homes and such, we didn't have the distributor generating. What we had is just that easy flow. Simple. We call it simple, but now we have an equation in there that people can generate their own power in their homes and put back onto the grid. So now we're actually going both ways, which is can be very complicated too, because when we have too much load going back into the grid, some of the lines are not capable of handling that much load in. So that creates another complexity into our really simple electricity world. Now you can go. Oh, no, one more thing. Sorry. On the, right where the little plug-in is, that is your retailer. So the retailer is who sends your bill and who will procure your energy for you. So oftentimes people can sign a contract with a retailer, and I'll get a little bit more into that later on down the way. And that retailer gets all the billing information and all the consumption information and from us as the distributor, and the retailer will then send you the bill with your many different components on your bill. Okay? I'll get into that later too. So just a little bit about generation. Primarily our electricity was coal-fired, and now we've done a lot to convert it into the gas-fired. So you'll see that a lot of the plants have converted over the last number of years. The blue bar just kind of shows there's 14,000 megawatts being produced by gas. Wind has a huge part in Alberta generating power, and solar is another one. Lots of solar farms are out there, as you know, around Alberta, and some of the rural areas are some solar farms. And then we have hydro, storage, and others. So others going to just be anything from a small generator generating power, which doesn't do a lot for us because our main sources are always going to be the big ones, which are the gas and the wind. So if you guys remember, oh gosh, has this been 2 years now ago, when the government put out that note, that emergency message to say everybody turn everything off and everybody shut down everything that you possibly can. Well, what happened that day is probably like a one-off situation. So we had many of the generator plants were going through their shutdowns. So they had, instead of having 3 turbines, they had 1 turbine. So you're already not generating enough capacity. Then you've got the wind. There was no wind, so there was no wind generating power. And then, of course, it was like that gloomy, non-sunny days, and so solar wasn't generating power. So now you have the worst situation you possibly can. We're not generating enough power in Alberta. Would we have survived? Yes, we did survive. Could we have still plugged in our phones and our dryers and our microwave? Yes, we absolutely can. What happens when we get into a situation like that? A lot of our big users, so our big plant users, those are the ones that the ISO, who's the government body of the electricity market, they will be told to turn their power, or like they'll be to reduce their power consumption. So us as consumers, we don't really have to worry about those types of things. It's always good to conserve energy, but for those types of things, we don't have to worry. Those big users are going to be the ones that they'll work with first, if that makes sense. Okay. So this is just a slide to show you those big transmission lines, and those are those ones that are going to travel all the way from the bottom of Alberta to the top of Alberta, from the east to the west. We have tie-ins with British Columbia and Saskatchewan and Montana. Montana.
I'm trying to make sure I'm showing you.
And so we have the ability to, if anything happens in BC, we can help them, vice versa. Same with Saskatchewan, if everything helps them, they can serve into us if there's any type of situation. So the event that I talked about a couple of years ago when we had no generating capacity happening, we actually worked with Saskatchewan to help bring in power for us, is basically what they were having those negotiation conversations. So the transmission lines, there is 26,000 kilometers of line approximately that puts onto the grid. And the transmission lines, they go from 69,000 to the 500 kV lines, which are the high voltage.
One thing has always been a question of mine. So
Sure.
Who owns all that land? Like, you own the land where the lines are on and a right-of-way on the other side?
Well, these are the transmission lines, so I can't speak to those because that's going to be AltaLink. Now, in terms of owning the land, you know, there's always those utility right-of-ways, so they're gonna be usually in those. We have those right-of-ways, so if the municipality owns that, you know, a lot of the, transmission lines are gonna be in the counties, and they're probably gonna own it, and then we just have that right-of-way, or they have that right-of-way.
I just wondered, I mean, I'm sure you probably lease it out anyhow. I mean, you see the farmers, I mean, they're farming right underneath it and everything, like, you know.
Yeah, and I'm sure that Eltelink probably, I mean, I can't speak on their behalf, but I know when we have facilities on private property, you know, we either give them money for it, or we have something that we do with them, we make some type of negotiation, to use their land, whether it's permanent or temporary.
I just wondered, because that's a lot of land.
Yeah, definitely a lot of land. I think they try to utilize the utility corridors for those types of things too, but, you know, that's Eltelink, and, I apologize, I can't speak to.
Oh, that's fine.
They have so the, transmission stations, what they do is that they step down that voltage to bring it to the distribution lines, which are gonna be the 25 kV, which is a 3-phase, and the single phase, which is the 14 kV. And that's when we can start to go to the homes and the businesses and the farms, et cetera. Next one.
How far down on Montana are you going?
I'm not sure how far down. I think we would just go to the border and then it would just go, yeah, it would be then the next, because no different than,
You have a substation down basically there, and then they could draw or not.
Eltelink will have, that's right, exactly. And it's no different than Fortis and Edmonton, the city of Edmonton, EPCOR. They have their area, and then we share some of the stuff because we're so connected with Sherwood Park right there and Parkland County's right there in St. Albert. So we have a lot of agreements that we share between the two utilities, which is going to be no different with Eltelink and down in Montana. So just talking about the retailers, so the retailers is who you get your bill from. I don't know if you guys are familiar or if you've been onto the UCA Helps website. It is a wonderful tool. If you haven't been on there, get on there. If you are still, looking to have a less expensive bill, it's always wonderful to get on there and see who's offering a different price of procuring the energy. There's approximately, last time I checked, there's about 135 different retailers, and it's everything from retailers that will serve microgenerators. So, if you're a microgen and you're generating solar on your home and you're generating power and putting back into the grid, you get credits, so they'll work with that as well. So it's definitely something to look at, and if you choose not to, you'll just be on what we call the rate of last resort, and our provider for the rate of last resort is EPCOR. So if you didn't sign a contract with anybody, you would just automatically get a bill from EPCOR because you have to have somebody, right? So EPCOR is who we have as our last resort. Does that make sense? Yes.
When did that come into effect, when you're talking solar power? Because at one point in time, a couple of years back, it wasn't, you still get your solar power and you're doing your own house and you're connected to the grid, but you're not getting paid back for any of the credits.
Oh gosh, so I know when I used to work for retail, I've been in the industry for a long time. I won't tell you how many years I've been there. And I remember when the ability to put back into the grid. So when a bidirectional meter is installed onto your home, so that's going to read how much power, how much electricity you're putting back in. That was being developed, if not already developed, when I moved to Fortis. So that was 15 years ago.
No, I understand that. My question is when are they going to start paying me back? Or are they just going to keep it in credits?
That would be...
Like I have 2 houses in Strathmore right now.
Okay.
And they just build up credits. There's no payback.
You don't get a check. Okay.
Exactly.
That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. I just assume you're getting the money as a credit. It offsets your overall bill. But if you always have an excess amount, I'm sure you could talk to your retailer. Maybe they could refund you. Again, that's on the retail side. I don't know. Maybe some retailers would do it, some don't.
But you guys don't deal with that.
We don't deal with the retailer because we're just a distributor. This is why I wanted to go through all the different components, because it's complicated, and you have to deal with essentially 5 different companies in Alberta to provide you the end result, right? So if you had any questions like that, I mean, the UCA would be a great place to start, or talk to your retailers. Maybe they'll give you a refund at the end of the month or end of the year if you have an excess credit left over. I think the idea or the concept is if you're generating more and you have that excess credit carrying forward, by the time the winter months come, it should chew some of that up, so you're using it anyway. So it's kind of a...
It's just when you're sold, when the sellers come in and saw you upgraded, they tell you, big crop.
You know, thank you for bringing that forward. We struggle with that a lot. We have a lot of companies that will try and sell. They'll come into the municipality and they'll say, hey, put solar panels on your building and you're going to have no bill. Well, you are going to have a bill. And that's it's such a misconception. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that, but educate. And that's, you know, and that education piece is so important because no matter what, if you're a business, a farm, a residential service, a big, large commercial service, if you put solar panels on your home or your business or building, yes, you'll generate and you'll put back into the grid. But the key is that's really just going to offset your energy that you're using. It's not going to affect the distribution and transmission charges because you need the infrastructure. You need to have all of the components to make sure that you have power if your solar panels don't work anymore. So even though we're not giving you quote-unquote power because you're generating, but if it wasn't generating, we're there for you. Do you know what I mean? So it's really...
Yeah, no, I understand. It's just Fortis is not involved in the solar panel.
Where we're involved, we're not involved at all, actually, but where we are involved, we seem to be the gatekeeper. So you have to go through Fortis for your application, to apply with the ISO. So there's all these different components that we are the gatekeeper for, and then we send your application, and then the ISO approves it or doesn't approve it, and then we talk to, so we are the gatekeeper, and that's literally it. And then, of course, you have the bidirectional meter that we install, so we would own that meter, but, you know, in terms of the solar panels, I know that NMAX was out. If you were there, if that was your retailer, they were offering some, you know, programs with their solar panels, but Fortis doesn't have any of that programming at all. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah. And again, it's education on what you're being told in the market, because if you have a sales guy coming out there telling you all these things, it's a complicated industry. So, you know, if you don't know, you're definitely going to believe, you know. So anyway, so there's over 130 retailers that are an option to choose from. So feel free to get on there, put in your postal code. It's super easy, and it's a great tool to try to get yourself on a better price for the energy. And when our prices were up to like 29 cents a kilowatt hour, I mean, those bills killed us, right? And that's where those retailers definitely, you're seeing some residual from that, and people were falling off of the rate of last resort because it was the full price, and that's what they were paying, and so getting into a contract with a retailer. My advice would be, if you do choose to pick a retailer, always make sure you don't have exit fees. My number one, please make sure you don't have exit fees, because if at any time you want to leave and pick another one and they have exit fees, you're paying out of pocket. So just please take that advice if you're going to take any.
Broker.
Excellent. Okay, moving on to the distribution. So distribution is where Fortis comes in. So Fortis, we own and operate and distribute about 60% of the province, and I'll get into that in the next slide, but essentially the distribution system carries the electricity from the substations, that transmission, as I was talking about, and we go to the homes and the businesses. We own and operate the streetlights. There's basically, you know, everything you see on the ground is what we would have, because we're, you know, more connected in the community. So, okay. That was my joke for today.
It was funny.
I wasn't trying. Okay, a little bit about Fortis. So we provide safe and reliable electricity to over 600,000 residential, commercial, industrial, and farms across basically central and southern Alberta. So all that dark blue is where Fortis is. All the light blue is where ATCO is. And then Calgary and Edmonton, they're their own distribution, transmission, retail, they're their own bodies. So we take them out of the equation. And then we have approximately 130,000 kilometers of power lines, and, you know, we're in 240 communities. That's the biggest thing. We're in 240 communities across the province, and a lot of our employees work and play and volunteer in these communities, which is wonderful. So,
Did Christmas pass that like utility?
to us.
Well, thank you for that. Gotcha.
Okay, so our value. So our value is having safe and reliable power, as I mentioned before, and we want to be keeping the power on. And by that, we, over the past 10 years, we've invested in over 1/3 approximately of our capital program into our system resiliency, our wildfire mitigation, and working towards having the ability to be, you know, the outage restoration, the emergency preparedness, and then including in that is our 24/7 control center and contact center. And we are local and we are in Airdrie. So when you call our contact center, everybody is in Airdrie, so they will, traditionally, they're going to know where you are in Alberta, which is always a nice thing, of course. And then one of the key things is our control center our contact center is connected with our control center. So anything that goes on, they're connected with each other in terms of our system. And at our control center, we're able to see so much things out there that if there's, with the new technology that we have in our control center, but also with the new meters that we're installing, and I'll talk a little bit about that coming up, we're able to turn power back on before we have a guy sent out there, which has been really valuable, or even turn off. If somebody says there's a fire, we can turn off. So we have the ability to control a lot of that stuff right from our control center, which is fantastic.
If I may give you a kudo, Your Worship, when we had the river intake a couple of years ago vandalized, and they took all the copper and shut the power down, Fortis was here within an hour and a half. That's very quick, and it's much appreciated to get everything running again. So,
can you go back to the slide? All those little yellow dots is where we have service points. So if you can imagine, all of our employees are working out of these different service points. So that's how close we can be to restore power if we have to go out. And I'll just talk a little bit about that, because I'm going to get into this here right away, but the storm we had on Sunday, we had over 15,000 customers that were affected, and we were able to draw, and this primarily, the west side was heavily impacted in comparison to the rest of the province. There was, of course, in like the Lac Saint Anne and Westlock area, and then a little bit, there was some in the south as well. But we were able to draw all those little yellow dots up north of Red Deer. All of our guys that are out of that area came up to support. So we triage, we're able to bring in support from our other local areas, and like fast, right? Whereas, you know, oftentimes, if you don't have the resources, you got to phone them, find them, what have you. So we had 38 crews and 10 contractor crews that came in within minutes that were starting to restore. So, you know, our operations does such a great job, and I think I was mentioning, you know, we're like #1 in Canada to have restoration, and this really became prevalent. We had, we're working on fire mitigation, and I think this is in one of my other slides, but we're working on fire mitigation around Alberta right now, because our fires, they're out there and they're happening way too often. And we were working with one of our sister company in Nova Scotia, our communications person, and she just didn't understand, well, it's fine to have your power out for days. And we're like, no, it's not. And so we had to give her examples, and we had to like almost put a light bulb on for her to understand, no, we aren't out for days. Our guys are out there, they're done. Like, you know, we had 15,000 customers restored in a day. They would be out for days in Nova Scotia, and they just didn't understand. And so it really opened my eyes to recognize our operations and our guys at how great of a job they do, and just to put that into perspective. So, you know, again, working through fire mitigation, it really became prevalent on how we really get out there and restore quickly. So,
have we ever had ice storms like they have down east in this area?
Yes. but Wetaskiwin area, I think it was 2 years ago, I got some pictures from some of the guys that were helping to restore, and the frost and ice that was on the lines, and I don't know if you guys ever seen it, Google it if you have an opportunity, but Google galloping power lines, it is incredible. Like, you know, it's something you'll never see, and you don't ever want to see it, because usually if that's happening, they're broken. They're going to break, and then you're going to have power down for sure. But yeah, the frost and the hoarfrost really does, it's heavy, and it's clearly not as bad as in Ontario. Ontario is unique. They definitely get a lot of bad storms, thankfully. But again, we are very fortunate we can pull so many resources around Alberta. And the cool thing is, not only just in Fortis, Alberta, but we also can pool people from ADCO, and we've also helped ADCO when they have their fires and their storms and stuff too. So we really do partner with them on things like that as well. So.
And a few years ago too, you sent a bunch of trips to the States. I can't remember which one. I'm sitting here trying to remember it.
The hurricane?
The hurricane,
Yep.
yeah. You were coming across the border like crazy. The Americans were
Yeah.
quite shocked and astounded.
Yeah. And we also, because I don't know if you guys know this, but Fortis Alberta is just one of the companies of the mother company. Our mother company is in Newfoundland. So we have in Newfoundland, we have in New Brunswick, and then we have Ontario and Fortis AB. And when those hurricanes have come through on the East Coast and took down many things, we send guys out, help, they go, they triage, they go out, they build, they come back, you know. And, you know, they really do, I wish I had that video, because watching the video just gives you goosebumps. Because it's incredible what they do and how they just pick up and go, you know. So I give them so many kudos, I tell you. Okay, so I'll get you to your own this one already. Okay, perfect. No, you're good. Let's just, yep, that's good. So what's new in Fortis? So we, as I was saying, we've invested over the past 10 years working on adding automation to our system. We have what's called the distribution automation, which is our devices that are added to our power lines and our power poles, so that if the power goes out, we can switch automatically, and this all can be done through our control center. So in the past, you would have to have a guy, they'd have to patrol, they'd have to go out, they'd have to find out where the outage started, and so this is what also helps our outage duration times, is because we have this automation, we can switch load, we can move load around and get people back on. So we've invested a lot of money in the distribution automation, as well as modernizing our mapping. That's going to be a great tool for us. Our new GIS system coming up, again, working when we have problems, the mapping system is going to be modernized, and our crews can use those. And then I'm sure that you guys have seen I call it the AMI program, the Advanced Metering Technology. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm sure you've seen the network data gateway boxes. We installed a couple of them on the poles in Thorsby. Have you seen anything kind of like a little box on a pole? No? Okay.
High up?
Oh, good.
High up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was automated traffic enforcement.
Oh, perfect. It creates a lot of conversation.
Yeah, I'm sure it would have. I'm sure we've had many people asking, and so essentially what's happened, we are now at end of life for a lot of our meters, and so as these meters expire, we need to now start moving them into the new technology meters, and so that's this new advanced metering. So the new technology meters is what we're going to be changing out in Thorsby specifically in October. We're going to do mass meter changes for all of the homes. But last year we installed the gateway equipment that communicates to these meters. The cool part about this is these meters are going to talk to the gateway, and that gateway is going to talk to our control center. So the ability to be able to turn these meters off if there's a fire, or detect the outages before somebody even knows. Like, how many times did you come home and your clock's flashing? Okay, the power's out. Well, we would have been able to identify that probably sooner than you would have, unless you were physically right there. So the new meters just provide a whole bunch of new technology that we're going to have in Fortis Alberta, which is kind of a cool thing, maybe a little overwhelming for some people, but it's really neat. So that's coming down the pipe for you guys.
Actually, you've already started.
Yes. yes, we've been doing short little ones, we're doing the mass in October, but some of them, we do have some meters that are still in people's homes, like inside, and those are the ones that we have to work with a little bit more delicately, just because we have to get into the home, we have to do the meter change, et cetera, so, yeah.
So the high up ones will stay put, that's a permanent fixture?
You bet, yeah, because that's the communicator to our meters and our home base, if that makes sense.
All right.
Yeah.
Ours was changed out last week, that's what I know.
Oh, good, okay, so we're already starting.
So what version is this? Is this, like in Saskatchewan, they changed out a lot of the old meters to the new smart meters, and then they had a lot of failures, so then they had to change them back. So what is the technology on this? Like, this isn't part of the old technology, this is the upgraded stuff?
I'm gonna say it may, I don't actually know the answer to this. I think it's gonna be the new technology, because now that we're just starting, we would have been working with the newer technologies, just because we've got that gateway, whereas there are the frequencies to communicate to that meter. There was a bunch of different ways you could have done it. We chose to use like the internet version, I guess you could call it, whereas the older ones, I think they were smart, but they did it differently. And again, I am not the expert on the meter, but
No, they changed out the old ones to the new ones, and then they realized that they had a problem with the new ones.
and that's
And that was in Saskatchewan, so that was
Okay.
about 8 years back.
Yeah,
So your technology is probably
maybe.
really updated.
I would say so, yeah, because ours started to expire in 2024. So that would have been last year, or 2 years now, that we would have started the process. Now, that being said, we've had some that there was a problem with, or they failed. You know, we installed a meter and the meter's not working, or it was something wrong with it. So I mean, with any technology, there's gonna be problems. But we had way less than it sounds like maybe Saskatchewan would have. And again, we try to see what the other areas have experienced, and then we try to not do that, you know. As an example, with the wildfire right now, the fires that were happening in California, there was a lot of things going on there that happened, and we've taken what happened there and are using that to do better things for us and choose wisely in terms of what we're doing. So, we do try to learn from what's happened and you know, do a better. But if you wanted me to find out, I can find out the technology of the meters.
No, I was more just concerned, because I know you guys got a massive change of the meters coming.
Yep.
Like, and obviously you've done your research and everything else to it. I just was wondering if you looked at what Saskatchewan, how they had their problems.
I can find out. I would say we probably have.
Because they spent quite a bit of money on the new meters, and just, you're getting them, that's all there is to it, and then they realized they were just shorting out and everything else, and they had to change them back. So to me, that was just a waste of money.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and it's that, like, I guess from our perspective, we have a team that is just working on the AMI stuff, and, you know, I'm gonna say, I'm confident that they would be taking all of that in before implementing a huge change, because we do have to go through the AUC, right? And so that process has to happen before we even come out and do anything in the field. So everything gets approved at the AUC because we're regulated, right? So, now, I can confirm, and, you know, I would hate, again, to see that money wasted and have to buy all new ones, right, or whatever. So, but, again, the meter, we have older meters is who's, older meters is who will be replacing them, and then the name of the meter, I have that somewhere. I don't have.
And that's all Wi-Fi now too, right?
Yeah.
Because of communication back
Yeah,
and forth.
whereas before it used to communicate through the power lines, right? So, I don't have the name of the new meters, and I do have it, but not in this presentation.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. And then the other thing that, the final thing that we always like to brag about is we now are having the 200 amp service as one of our standards for development. We're finding now the 100 amp service is not enough. People are having hot tubs, people are having electric vehicles, et cetera. So the 200 amp service, we implemented that as a standard, I think, last year. So that's a good news story for any new development.
So it's standard code.
It's a standard amp service whereas before it would have been a non-standard. Now, what I mean by that is our standard would be a 100 amp service, and probably majority of the homes would have a 100 amp service. But if a developer is developing, or a home builder is developing a home, and they have a, over, say, 2,500 square foot, and they have an electric vehicle, and they have a hot tub, and they have, whatever, the 200 amp service we would now be able to provide, whereas before we didn't have that.
So you still have to request that amount. It wouldn't be automatic, not every
Correct.
house is
That's
for
right.
200.
Most of the builders are leaning to the higher amp service, yeah.
Because of electric vehicles and everything.
Yeah, more for the higher demand, like everything's electric now,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, that's what we're seeing, yeah. So, whereas before it was a problem because we just didn't have them on hand. They were like one-offs. We would do like the calculations and we'd be like, well, you wouldn't really classify for a 200 amp, whereas now we have it in our standard stock and it's.
I do have one question. Will if we had a new subdivision come in, and those houses are, let's say, all put in at 200 amp, is the power grid able to support all these new houses coming in?
It's a great question. It's a really good question. So we constantly get asked that question. Can we support the growth, right? And, how we try to explain it is, 10 years ago, we wouldn't be using the type of, things weren't built for the amount of power being used today. But as we grow the growth. And how we run, and our model that we run is, we will build for what is needed, but we're not going to, we're not going to install power into a subdivision without knowing what's going to be there, because if a subdivision is built and we put in power to serve just residential, and then all of a sudden, well, now it's commercial because something changes, well, now we don't have enough capacity for that. So we're not going to build the model that we will build and they will come. We don't do it that way. What we build is what is needed. And so as we grow, we will build to what is needed. And then we grow, and then new substations are added, and, new growth is always going to be. If you were to ask me today, organically, we have enough power to serve a subdivision. If, a data center came in and they needed 75 megawatts, I would say, well, we might not have that today, But I mean, on a whole, we don't see any issues in this area for growth or capacity or the inability to serve. The key for your development, if the subdivision is coming in, is to know what you want to have in there so that that developer can communicate with Fortis, because if they know what they're, what you guys are seeking for, is it a mom and pop shop, is it residential, is it large commercial, because those all are going to be key questions that Fortis will need to know to supply power there. I hope that helps.
Yes, complete area structure plan.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I know I'm taking time here. All right. You can move on to the next one. So wildfire mitigation, I talked a little bit about that. I won't get too much into this detail, but what I will share is we have been identifying hotspots throughout our service territory. And with the fires and the number of fires that have happened over the last couple of years, we know they were significant in 2023. So we really changed our model where we look at, the fire index, how dry it is, the wind speed, and all of that is now being looked at very differently. So with our fire mitigation and our fire mitigation team, we have been trying to do different things to help fires and ignite fires from power lines, because we do know that in California, a lot of those fires were caused from power lines, whether it was wind, trees on them, sparking, whatever. So we're trying to avoid that from happening. So a couple of things that we're doing is we are installing wraps on our poles. So if a fire starts, those wraps are to prevent that pole from burning and then sparking and then creating a bigger fire. So there's that. We've installed in 2025 4,075 wraps, and then we're predicting to do 2,000 in 2026. And then we've also installed 21 weather stations across our service territory. The reason behind the weather stations is so that we can track the speed of the wind, how dry it is, and what it's looking like for that window if we ever have to enact a PSPS. A PSPS is a power shut-off. So when we talk about power shut-off, it's called PSPS. We don't have this in Thorsby today, so just so you guys are aware, but if that ever came into effect, we would have to shut all the power down, and then the town would be without power. Okay, so it's a serious, that is our very last resort that ever would happen, but we have those PSPS models in Hinton, Whitecourt, Edson, and Woodlands County today, and Yellowhead County today. Specifically, they are the hotspots for fires, and so now, there's criteria around that PSPS, and I can, come in another time and talk about PSPS and what that looks like, but I mean, it doesn't affect Thorsby, so, but in case there is criteria, that would be, it has to be this certain wind speed, it has to be this certain, dryness, and it has to be this, fire index, and if all three of those match, then that PSPS becomes in effect. That's not what we ever want to be in. Let's just say.
Okay, hazard mitigation.
Yeah.
Question, do you have, drone surveillance? Are you going to drone surveillance?
That's a good question. I have heard, we've been talking a little bit about that, and especially to find out where this next piece that I was just going to talk about with that comes into play, because we have what's called an enhanced power safety setting, which is the EPSS. What that means is if the fire zone is hot, then we will enact the EPSS. And what that means is if anything, debris, a bird, anything, comes in contact with the line shuts down. So it's not shutting all power, it's just that one circuit, if you will. The benefit about that is that it doesn't spark a fire, right? And so if that happens, what we would need to do is that outage now becomes a longer duration, because we need to have a lineman go out, patrol that line, find out what hit it, what created that system to shut off, and then they have to make sure it's safe to turn back on, and then they'll turn back on. The drone would be a great opportunity to find, especially in the bush.
Exactly, and then it can communicate back to you, right?
Yes, exactly.
So if you have to shut these lines down, is that like a federal law?
Nope. This would be something that we would do, it would be part of our mitigation to reduce a fire.
Okay, so my question is, like I'm Generac, so if you shut the whole town down, I still got power.
Yep.
But then what is my legal liability, I guess? Like you're coming into an area and you're shutting it down, and say there's 4 or 5 people that have the Generacs and stuff, they're still producing power.
Well, and I guess at the end of the day, it's the power lines that'll be affected. It's a good question.
But mine's going directly into my house before it hits.
And it's just a generator going in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll be fine, because you would then still have power. It's not going to affect your generator. Is your generator gas run?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as long as you have enough gas, you could run your power until we turn
Well,
the
it's
power back
natural
on.
gas.
Yep.
So it's a direct line.
Yep. So then you wouldn't be affected by a power outage ever.
No, I'm trying to understand the legal liability. If you guys are gonna make the call and you're gonna shut down an area, there's a reason you're shutting it down.
Right.
But individuals like me, when I've got the generators and they're up and they're going, would there be a legal liability on my end?
I don't think so, because you'll still be having power, but your power line going to your home wouldn't be working. Just your generator would be working. Right? So, and believe me, if we ever got to a PSPS, you guys would know well in advance. And it would be, we start communication like at least 5 days before. And then, but again, that's why we have these weather stations to be able to predict what's happening in the next, week or whatever, right? So then we're able to determine if we're going to do that. And again, last resort, period.
We have to look at our big gen for the water treatment plant, 'cause that's a big gen. We'll talk offline.
Yeah, and again, here in Thorsby, you're not affected, because you don't have the forest that's around, the dry trees, those kinds of things. So you're pretty good here. But that doesn't mean, our fires have been ridiculous in the last number of years. So, okay, let's move on. Going off track there. Okay, so safety. This slide is super quick. We just want to let you guys know where we sit in, with the safety, and we've had award-winning reliability because we've been able to keep power on, and then as well, the outages coming and the restoration time. So the blue and yellow bars down there, we're Forest Alberta, we're the lowest in comparison to Canada, which is always a great thing. And then the other thing, we talk about safety, the public power line contacts. You know, over the last number of years, we've been seeing a reduction. 23, we saw a lot, so I don't know what happened that year, but every year we tend to see a reduction in power line contacts, so that's never a bad thing. And then, okay, now the fun stuff. Okay, so community investment. This is my favorite topic to talk about. We invest in our communities. We have 4 pillars of community investment: safety, education, wellness, and environment. We really like to be in the community. So in Thorsby specifically, we've given the energy grant to the Chamber in 2024. We have the Egg Society. We support the rodeo the last 2 years. So those are part of our bigger investment in our sponsorships. Types of sponsorships that we like to see come in are anything and everything where Fortis can be supporting. So if you have anything that you want to support and you think that it falls within these pillars, send in an application. Our grant applications are super easy. I sent an email out last month just talking about we have a number of grants. We have the energy grant. We have the community naturalization grant, we have the tree planting grant, and then we have grants for the schools. So these are all grants that are available. We have a website that talks about what those grants are and who the winners were the last couple of years. So always open to talk about sponsorship for the community. And I always like to look at the little smaller communities because the money goes further than some of the bigger communities. So if you want to talk sponsorship, we can do that. But as a whole, we at Fortis, we support some of the things we support at a corporate level. Our STARS is super important to us in case anything happens with our linemen on site. We've had to use them before, so those are always a big one. Birds of prey is another really big one. Our guys find birds injured all the time, so they will bring them down to the birds of prey. We have a really good relationship with birds of prey, and the gentleman down there, his name is Colin. He's got tons of birds that he's sent back in to the wild. Some he's had to keep. The eagles are a big one, you know, so the hawks. Anyway.
And your Peregrine camera's still up and running?
Yeah.
Awesome. I like watching it every year. Awesome.
Yeah, and then we have scholarships for NAIT and State, and Old College, Communities in Bloom we also support, CPAWS, and the Ronald McDonald House, and the Agriculture for Life we also sponsor. So these are some of the corporate sponsorships, and then the community ones is where I get into those ones. So, okay. And then just a little bit about my role. These are the types of things that we as stakeholder relations manager, we literally do everything. As you can see, that's what this slide is supposed to say, is that we kind of touch everything. So we're the primary contact for Fortis Alberta and the municipality, and anything that you guys need is you come through me and we work it out and figure out how to get it going. So, and one of the big things that, as part of our role, we have constant communication on outages. So when we talk about outages, if you guys were out on Sunday, Donna would have gotten an email from me just kind of saying, here's what's happening, this is what we're doing. Usually I have information. Sunday I did not, but nonetheless, you know, just kind of keeping the community or you and council involved in knowing what's happening and when restoration will happen. So, and then the slide, just want to talk about sign up for the outage alert. So if you have an outage, it'll alert you right away if you have a smartphone. Anytime that you see a street light, if you can report them out. You guys have a franchise agreement, so one thing to consider, if a street light is out and you report it, and if we don't fix it within our service level, which is 14 days, you get 2 months worth of distribution charges and we give you a check. So the goal for us is always to keep the lights on and or off. And reporting them is wonderful. And if you are on our website, we have the ability to just pin it and then report it out. And then anything else, our website has a wealth of information. It's, there's a lot of stuff on there, so feel free to peruse that. And that's it.
Well, thank you. That's a lot of information there.
You know, and I tried to be fast, but I do apologize. I know I probably took longer than I should have. Any questions at all? I know you guys asked questions throughout the way, but do you have any questions or anything easy to take away?
We'll probably maybe take some of your, advice and look at some grants from down the line here and stuff like that.
Perfect.
Sure. Appreciate it.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
If you need anything else, Donna's got my number. You guys can get in touch with me for anything at all.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nikki, thank you.
Sorry for taking up your time.
All good, we appreciate you.
All right, motion to accept the, presentation from, Fortis.
Information?
All in favor? Opposed? All in favor? All right. Okay, going on to old business, Chief Administrator Office contract review. So at the last meeting, we talked about the review here, and we wanted to make sure everybody was here last time to be part of it. We also talked about that doing it at the same time every year, and I believe that the anniversary date of that would be December, so the next council meeting is December, the last one, and we have to have at a meeting where we have a regular meeting because we have to make a motion on it. So I believe everybody's consensus was to bring it back for, I think the date would be December the 22nd.
So that means that that review would not be done until December 22nd?
Correct.
Annually.
Every year.
Okay.
And
But when is the,
then, well, next, the contract's coming on the next 24th, this month.
okay,
Yeah, we're gonna be doing our, we bringing back the CEO and the CFO contract back.
I understand that, yeah.
We can't make a motion on it at the
No, I
council,
understand.
so that's the reason.
But that means that this renewal for contract would be done without a
Correct.
review?
The only, but it makes a lot of sense in one way in that, it gives you more opportunity for you guys to, we've only had 4 months. I mean, if you guys want to do it at a different date, that's fine, but that was the consensus that we had at the last time.
Okay, and then just because I did miss it, and I apologize if it was in the minutes and I missed it, what is the term that we're looking at renewing at this point?
It would be until April of, end of April, after our council, so it would be,
April 30th.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, it's before your term.
Right.
In a bit.
so I do have a bit of a concern if we're to make a decision, and this doesn't come necessarily from personal concern, but more as what I heard from residents, is that we're going to make a decision to extend a contract without doing a review. And the last review has been quite some time. It's not been done annually, correct?
Well, I mean, the council wants to do something different,
That's just my 10 cents worth.
Yeah.
If you want to hold a review now and then again in December, is that what you're thinking?
I know it seems cumbersome, but December should go quickly if we've already done the bulk of the work, but I do know that there are people looking for answers. I'm already confident with the renewal, but
Because you have 4 months of information to go on.
yeah. But at least we've done something as requested.
I mean, if that's the wish, I mean, if you want to do it, doing the review before the renewal, I mean,
And we thought we were going to do it last meeting, and then
Yeah.
you were out. And I said.
Definitely something without my
until we were
control,
all
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So,
So at the last meeting, Carrie, we asked to put it off until all of us were here.
Yeah.
To be able to discuss it. It was also discussed at that time that, because they are contractors, or CFO, they're contractors, it has to go through lawyers.
Only if we make major changes, though.
It should, it's a contractor, they are contractors, it should still go contract, it should still go to a lawyer.
But if we're not making any
That's what I'm
changes
saying.
on it, then it doesn't have to.
There's nothing to
It's
say, it's already been to a lawyer.
Yeah.
No, the previous contract has got to a lawyer, this new one has.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, that the previous contract has gone to a lawyer,
Yeah.
but unless we make major changes, why would we waste taxpayer
fine.
money? Let me finish, please. Why would we waste taxpayer money to send a new contract without major changes back to a lawyer to look at the same thing?
Why?
Yes,
Okay, well, you've got a new road being built, right?
yeah,
That's being built by a contractor.
right,
So that has to go through engineers and has to go through legal as well.
right?
So what is the difference between that contractor?
That's a
and
new
ours not having-
contract.
That's a new contract for a new thing.
Yeah, this.
I mean, I agree, if
This is a
we,
new contract here as well, and there's some changes to this that's been done. The cash has changed up, the terms, there's a few terms on here that have been changed up from the previous one. That's why I'd asked for a copy of the first one, so that I could see what the difference was, because I wasn't here for the first one,
okay,
so.
But the monetary value really hasn't, it's changed, but hasn't changed, it's gone up. So that, to me, is not a major change.
right, but the
for other contract.
but the contractual expectations have not changed.
No,
No. The only thing I'd want to point out about that review, it's not a performance thing. It's not about performance. It's a review, and it's to satisfy the MGA, but it's not a performance-based, review. Would that be a fair comment there, Don?
Yeah, it is, thank you, Rich, but it is a contract review, based on the MGA. Did we fulfill the tenants within the MGA so basically, did we fulfill the statutory duties? Have we delivered contracted services? Have we provided governance support to council, administration, municipal operations, et cetera? And in municipal government, there's three key areas where the evaluation stems from, and so that's what the council will be looking at.
Right, but things that are in there are all, sorry, I apologize for interrupting. The things that are in there are key accomplishments.
They are, absolutely, there are expectations,
Yeah,
correct.
and the previous contract performance evaluation is a public document, record.
Correct.
So I've reviewed that,
Yep.
just because it was something that was brought up by people of the town.
Yep.
And I think that as counselors, we need to review that again before we sign a contract, or we're gonna be just as much in a hot seat as previous council has. I'm not foreseeing a problem. I just
No, I
think
mean,
we need to do our due diligence.
when we brought this thing up the last meeting there, we actually, that was the intent.
Okay,
And then we decided not to, as a group, that we were gonna do it on an annual basis. So I mean, whatever the wish is council here, now's the time to say it.
See, my concerns with this new contract is that, there's timelines on this. And the timelines are regarding the notices, so 3 months' notice, either on either side. The previous contract, the old contract, the original contract,
Yep.
it was, 3, 3, and 3. So they give us 3 months, we give them 3 months, and if they're cut loose, that's 3 months. The new one is different. So
it's 3 and 6, correct?
No, it's 3, 3, and 7.
Okay.
So now we're paying, if we cut them
I thought
loose.
it was six.
Yeah, I read 6.
It's 6. It's 6. But we discussed that, and that'll come up.
Well, we're discussing it now.
We discussed it, and that'll come up, and we'll make a vote on it when we review the contract.
Okay. Is anybody opposed to trying to do it before the next meeting?
Say that again?
Is anybody opposed to trying to complete a review of the contract before the next meeting, before we have to vote on renewing the contract?
I personally, no, but I want this to go to legal, this contract to go to
Okay,
legal.
that's 2 separate votes, though, right?
The motion
Okay.
That's what I'm saying, you're asking, I'm telling you, so that's the only thing that I'm asking for.
Okay, so the review would be
And
separate.
the motion would be that the contract will be assigned or denied, whatever, and after an opinion from legal, all right?
Gotcha, okay.
That would be the motion.
So it would be all one motion?
Correct.
Oh, no,
But you're.
what I'm saying is a separate motion. Okay.
You're on a
Yours is
different
separate.
page. She's on review.
Okay,
So you're
so
asking
review
for,
versus renewal, does anybody oppose to making time to do the review, which I can't imagine taking more than half an hour to an hour max?
Would we do the review during regular council meeting or after?
So you do it during open yeah. If you look at the guidelines on here, and that's what it says. So,
Yeah, open, but does it, sorry, can it be done within the meeting, or
You
does
know
it
what,
have to be
just-
done prior to?
If that's the
During,
wish,
okay.
if that's the wish of everybody, it's not a big deal, it just takes time to do it.
I'm only one vote, so I'm putting it forward to everyone.
So that could not happen tonight because it's
Can't,
not on
because
the
we have to
agenda.
make a motion,
Yeah,
and the
right.
motion on the.
So we would have
council
to,
Go ahead, Jesse.
from what I understand, Daryl, that you're saying it could not happen before the next meeting because we have to get it on the agenda for the next meeting to do the review.
We would do a review during the meeting.
the review would be done during the meeting, it would be on the agenda, so
Right.
on the next agenda, the
On the
contract
next
renewal,
agenda, we have
and
to
we
get
will
it
put
on
this
there.
on before we do the renewal.
Exactly. Would that
Now,
help
would
you?
you have a cow meeting or a regular meeting? Which meeting would it be?
Say that again?
A cow meeting or a regular meeting?
At the regular meeting, because we have to make a motion.
We can't
Yeah.
make a motion to the council.
We have to make a motion that we reviewed and accepted to satisfy the MGA, and it has to be done at a regular thing. All we can do it at the council, we can recommend motions and advise administration to do things, but we can't make a legal motion. Is that correct, Jesse? Okay. So go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Mayor Hobson through to, Councilor Levin. If, and Donna, correct me if I'm wrong, if you would like to make a motion tonight to direct administration to put the review on the upcoming regular agenda,
Right.
that's something you could do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the way you can
That's
direct
the
it.
motion.
That's exactly right, and
Okay.
that's what I'm asking. If that's what you want, I don't see an issue with it,
Okay,
and then it's done.
that's three.
And then, it's an annual, but if you're gonna do it then, I don't see any need to do it again in December. I mean, you make
To do
it
it the following
yearly,
December.
a year, that's right, at the same time the next year. You're just changing the anniversary.
That recommendation, direct.
Okay, I would like to make the recommendation, please, that be put on the agenda for the next, regular meeting, that we have a chance to do the review and, move forward so that we can move forward on the contract renewal.
All right, all in favor? It's carried. It's not a big deal.
No.
It's done, but
I don't
like I
think
say, I don't see any reason to do it again following in the year.
I don't think
Do it once a year and it's good, but we can talk about that after.
And I apologize that
There's
I,
only 6 months left anyways. in the
Yeah,
year.
exactly, so, okay.
So
very good.
may I just ask a question?
Sure.
While we're all sitting here, of our Donna's here, CFO, would you have any objections to changing the 6 to the 3?
We probably would, because we're contractors. If I was an employee, I'd leave it at 3. But here's our timelines, which is fine, is that valuation comes the next regular. That means at the next regular, you do your valuation. If you have any changes to that contract, then you'd have to direct us to send it to legal, if that's what you do.
Yeah.
If that's what you do. If we send it to legal, you have to sign it on the regular or call a special meeting, because we're done April 30th.
Yeah, exactly, so, I think, like I say, that we need to, approve it on the next meeting, or,
No, if you approve
You'd
it,
have to call a special to approve it, your worship,
Yeah.
at the next meeting. You can do that too.
then you won't have time to send it to legal.
Or you make the motion, you approve it pending approval from the legal.
Depending on the vote.
I have
Depending
a
on the vote,
question
or
though.
depending on the legal. Would you have two different
No,
scenarios?
you have to, sorry, your worship, through the council rounds. If you do the evaluation, then if you want to send it to legal, you have to give administration a resolution.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're, looking at that for the, March meeting, March regular.
Yeah.
Then it would, your evaluation be in the March regular, then we have, then you have COW meetings to determine if everything you want in that contract is the way it is. And I will indicate that Cindy, because we're contractors, council, needs time if you, and Cindy, you certainly comment on this. if you're not satisfied with this, you need time to get a bunch of people in here.
Agreed.
So, if you let us go, that's fine, but most contractors are asking for 6 months, because we're contractors, not employees. So, okay, so then you're in your timeline of, committee of the whole in April, to which you can determine if you want changes and direct administration to send that contract to legal. That would be your timeline there. You can direct us to do that with a majority vote. Then you would, all as well, you would sign the contract at the end of April, just knowing that April 30th is, unless you want to call a special meeting well ahead of that. That's what the-
Well, we can set those deadlines.
Wait, can I,
Yeah.
sorry,
I think, go ahead.
can they not, could they not direct you right now, Donna, to send them to legal so they're ready to go for March, for the next meeting?
They could direct me to do that, yeah. There's some discussion here about the 3 and 6 month issue, so you would probably have to direct us to, I guess, see what legal says about the 3 and the 6. I know both of us aren't amenable to 3 on this matter.
Well, I have a question about this legal. If all we're doing, and it's gonna be a consensus of council, if that is the change, right? That we go to the 6, and other than the little
From
wage
the 6 to
increase.
the 3. That's what I'm,
Okay, but it has to be a consensus, and if we don't agree to it, it does not have to go to legal. If we agree to go to the 6 months,
Right.
then we don't, then it's a moot point, we do not have to send it to legal.
You can if you direct us, for sure. If you change, if you want to go down to a 3 and we're saying we're not, we're negotiating with that, then you'd want to check that out with legal. I would recommend that. I wouldn't have a problem.
No, but if we decide as the council as a whole to go to the 6, then we don't have to go to legal. I'm just looking at.
Yeah, we can take that. I mean, we're.
Yeah.
We don't have to go to legal.
No, okay, so that would shorten up the process.
Likewise, the review doesn't really have anything to do with the 3 versus the 6.
No, correct.
So the 3 versus the 6 point account needing to go to legal could be voted on today, because the review doesn't really affect that, right? So,
You'd have to vote on the 3 versus the 6 at the regular council.
oh, right, because we can't do that, any of that. Sorry, my bad.
Okay.
So what I'm hearing is, okay, so, when we bring it back here in March, there's 2 things that we're gonna vote on, is whether we wanna send it to legal. Secondly, if we wanna change the term from 3 months to 6 months. Okay, so we can deal with that. We can make those resolutions and votes, and we can vote on that in the next meeting. Does that sound logical, Don?
Yeah, for sure. And then you've, just trying to think, and if there's other motions here, we have to look at doing all this in, regular. So when did you want to do the evaluation? During
So we'll do it
now or during regular?
During regular.
Okay. On the 24th. I'm just running the motions here.
So we've already made that motion.
Correct, yes, Carrie made.
Okay, all right, and,
A recommendation, I shouldn't say motion.
yeah,
We made that recommendation to bring it back to the,
okay, and then signage?
Yeah.
On the 24th, you just want to sign it in,
correct.
sign it on the 24th. Okay,
That's correct.
and then, you'll have to direct us, I won't send this contract to legal without a resolution and without a
Yep.
reason.
So we'll make that,
You can provide me that motion.
we'll make that motion at the next meeting.
But even if you changed it, like because I'm kind of in agreement with Councillor Audrey on, that's not even a major change either from 3 to 6 months. That's just a term of payout. It's not a major contractual change to the actual contract. It's the change of one number. It's no different than changing our compensation from 73 to 75, right? Like, to me, that's not a major change that requires legal. A major change that requires legal would be to change the whole scope of the contract or a major section of the contract. That's just my opinion. And to spend $250 to $500 to review a contract that's been reviewed once already is not a prudent use of taxpayer dollars. So it's not because I mean, I have no problem with it going to legal because it's already been there, but I just don't think that's a prudent use of taxpayer dollars when this municipality is already struggling to keep taxes low. We shouldn't be wasting money on things that have already been looked at when we're not changing anything substantial except for compensation and a term buyout.
Okay, thank you for your opinion, and like I say, we will deal with that, and we'll make that motion, and we'll do a vote at the next meeting. And we'll deal with it at that time.
Your worship, if I may address Madam Clerk, please. Madam Clerk, what motions do we need?
You already have a motion from the last meeting to bring back the contract to the March 24th meeting, so we don't need that. Unless you feel that.
I don't believe we need any motions. These are just things that we'll deal with at the next meeting.
Yeah, and you've already directed us to bring it back at the
Okay.
last meeting to the March 24th.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
All right.
I have a question for you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
In our last meeting, our last discussion, you thought it was a good idea to take it legal.
No, we
And
didn't.
I get the impression you,
I didn't say it wasn't a bad idea either. I said we're gonna vote on
I
it.
didn't say that.
I didn't make an opinion here.
Okay.
I'm just listening to what everybody's saying here. And,
Councilor Mayor, I am going to be one, and I'll come right up. I don't think it's prudent of us to spend taxpayers' money on a contract that's already been reviewed by the town. And if we're only making those two little changes, if we decide to, I do not think we need to go to legal with them.
granted, like, we've already dealt with this, we've made the motion, not the motion, we've agreed that we're gonna bring it back to the meeting and we'll make the vote on it. We do it here, but we can't. All right, anything else? All right, let's move on. Council reports. Apologize for not getting mine into you, Jesse. We were in a meeting there and,
6.1, Your Worship.
One more, just one.
One ahead of it, sorry,
Office
Your
closure. It's at the bottom under.
Worship. Page 22.
I don't have it on mine. Mine stops at 5.
It is budget from his,
Would that be about my speed?
when you pulled them off the printer.
Oh, I've got the wrong one. Okay,
I don't think
sorry about
so.
that.
I think I did it right.
Sorry about that, I'm using the special one. All right, here we go. Sorry. 6.1, office closure for staff training. Now, see if it's still on.
Thank you, Your Worship. All we did is, our new website is coming. We have to have training on how to use it, and then we can present it to council as well. But, we need time to be able to manage it ourselves, and that's the only time that the company can do it. And so we're requesting a 12 to 1:30 p.m. on March 17th for training. I'm also at that time too with the Leduc Fire as well, so I've got double duty going on that day. So anyway, it's important we do that, because if I remember, Your Worship, through the Madam Clerk, we have to get some of this done, because our old website is closing out with the new one coming on top of it, right? That's why we're doing this training as well.
Yeah, we gotta close out that website right away.
Yeah, right away, otherwise we're gonna pay for it, we don't wanna do that. So.
Okay. Anybody have any other comments on that? No?
I do have a comment.
Sure.
You're asking for an hour and a half,
Yep,
right at lunchtime.
yeah, that's the only time they can do it.
Okay,
All right.
what I'm, this,
Yep.
just for the staff here.
For sure.
So the staff, so why don't we close from 12 to 2, so the staff can get their lunch in?
Oh, that's fine with us, we're gonna order in pizza and stuff we can eat while we're training, but we're fine.
But it's very frustrating for somebody who has worked whatever in the hospital and everything, and you have work, and then you have to go for training, and then you have to go, then you're eating your lunch at your desk, you're not getting a break.
Right.
And I just think it's so inappropriate to expect our staff to not be able to have a break. That So I would propose it going from 12 to 2.
We could do council's direction, I mean, we're fine with that, we're trying to be prudent, but, you know, we'll take another half an hour.
Motion to that effect?
I make a motion for the office closed for staff training.
Motion to direct administration.
Okay, motion to direct administration for staff training on March 17th from 12 to 2. The office is closed.
Okay. All in favor? Carried. Make sure you're wearing something green that day.
The St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah,
Yes, I
Oh, is it?
got them.
but the extra half hour doesn't mean green beer.
You're gonna pinch you.
I live with an Irishman, I agree with you.
All right, now that I got the right agenda here, we'll move on to 7.1, the council reports. So, I apologize for not getting into, we were in that meeting when you gave me the, reminder. I shouldn't have needed it, but I didn't have any time, so. Anyhow, we'll go ahead with mine. So, February 16th, we had our special meeting, regarding the arena floor, where we made the 2 resolutions, to replace the floor, subject to funding and contractor selection. And secondly, to request funding from the Loup County, which we did. And, February 20th, strategy planning hosted by Dave Oldham, integrated strategic partner, and he will bring forward a host of ideas and plans that we did, and he's going to bring them back to the council, and I think he's getting pretty close to getting that done. Don't know if I'm not.
We do, he sent it to administration to just make sure some of our thoughts and comments were good, and then what will happen is 2 or 3 pillars will be presented to council to finalize, and then our company will donate the design of the strategic plan, so it looks nice and it fits in with our marketing team with water and so forth. Then we can put it on, once council passes it, then we can put it on our social media.
Okay. February 23rd, had a mayor and CEO meeting with the MCSA with Casquin. We just went over the plans that have been put forward in the past. Nothing's changed, and we're all waiting for the funds from the Water for Life. And we expect that to be within the next 2 months.
We believe so, sir.
February 24th, the regular council meeting. March 1st, we had the second meeting with the county. Mayor Blanco and our city manager, they had some concerns and some questions, so we addressed some of the questions and concerns for them, and they brought them back to their council meeting. They had a closed session this morning at 10 o'clock, so I'm guessing we're going to hear something more from them.
I'm sure we'll get some sort of acknowledgement.
We gave them the latest quotes, and we're just waiting for them to come back and tell us yes. I know Warburg, they cut back on Warburg. They cut back considerably what they wanted to do. They originally gave them a fair amount of money, but I believe they've cut back and scaled back on what's going to be done. So we'll see what they do for us. March 5th, they attended the emergency training in Calmar, along with members from Loup County, Calmar, Warburg, and Thorsby, and it's mandated under the MGA. And it was a pretty good course, I thought. Enjoyed it. People were good. The instructors were very good. These guys were boots on the ground in all the major emergency disasters in the last 4 or 5 years in Alberta, so they knew what they were talking about. And we'll be looking at our, Donna and I'll be looking at our bylaws and make sure they're up to date and get everything in there.
Councilor Audrey, we're the committee.
Correct. And March 8th, I had a virtual meeting with North Saskatchewan Water Alliance governance regarding policies and stuff. And interesting thing is that they had about a 4-page code of conduct that they just passed, and it was in quite detail and something that hopefully we're going to get here soon. So that's all I have. Any questions for me? No? Councilor Levin.
Okay, my report only goes up to, the 5th or 4th when we have this handed in, but, I attended the special meeting on the 3rd, as well as the COW on February 10th. The special meeting before the COW on the 10th, then the COW on the 10th. I also, on that day, had my preliminary call with David. It was a busy day. It was right after our meeting. Attended the special meeting on the 16th, and as well as the strategic planning session on the 20th. I did miss the regular COW meeting due to a death in the family, and I attended the library meeting on March 3rd. So some of the updates for that is our library has received a $14,000 PLSB grant, as well as an Alberta Treasury grant of $21,000. So that is really going to help with the upgrades with the computer desks and the sit-up bar with the connections in it. So those are definitely also going to cut back on what is going to be needed to be asked of council, hopefully. They added a signing authority now that we have enough people, so that there's 3 options, which means if somebody's gone, we can still do that. Over spring break, the library will actually be holding an escape room again. They'll be posting in the paper. I believe they're going to forward something for the town website, but that sounds kind of cool and exciting. People can make a half-hour appointment to come in and do the escape room with their family, and there's something kind of new and neat to offer. All of the T4s, as far as like the financial stuff, all of the T4s and summary to the CRAs are all taking place, so they're up to date on that. And then the only thing that I felt was probably for discussion is, and I understand we can't make a decision today, but the question has been posed and thought that maybe it's been asked before about the library manager becoming a town employee where they would get benefits, or is that something that can be done?
Can't be done. I just attended the URL and I asked that exact question.
Okay.
Public library is public and it's funded by the public.
Okay.
If she's looking for benefits, she's got to go somewhere else.
Okay. And actually, she's not looking. It was the board that brought it up, just to be clear, because I don't want Kayla to get
I set up
any
the board
flack.
members on Monday.
Okay.
Because I'd heard that question come up and I asked them and they said no.
Okay.
That's it, Don.
Your worship, through the council, Carrie, look at combined insurance.
Okay.
They're very reasonable. I can give you the rep for this area.
That'd be great.
We've
I'm
been on
interested
them
for
for
myself.
years, where our company is well looked at with critical illness and everything, and we pay $500 a month. Now, you pay significantly less, but Josh is pretty good. So combined kind of caters to this sort of situation.
Okay.
So I'll email you his contact.
She doesn't really feel she needs it. It was more somebody on the board that thought that.
It was just that they were not, if she
Thinking
keep
about
that offer.
Yeah, yeah.
That's worth looking into, for sure, because you might get those benefits, the library might, for $250 a month, depending on what you want. That might be worth it for her. 'Cause
Sounds
she's
good.
pretty young, and she was here a minute, that's why I looked back.
She left in between meetings.
And it's only fair that,
Not as skinny as her.
well, you look really young, lady. She deserves that kind of exploration for herself, so
Yep.
I will do that.
Sounds good, thank you.
You bet.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? All right, thanks. Councilor Musson.
All right, so I attended all the regularly scheduled council meetings for the month of February. Other activities or duties, be it paid or volunteer, are as such. February 3rd, I attended a special meeting. February 5th, I was bingo paymaster. February 6th and 7th, I went to the Leduc Regional Housing Foundation Strategic Planning Retreat at the Village Inn at Pigeon Lake, which was a 24-hour meeting, and we reviewed the vision, mission, values, and strategic plan. Discussion around hiring a new executive director ensued as Margot Haggerty is retiring. Excuse me. Risk policies were reviewed, as well as current housing status. February 7th, Try event hosted by Leduc County at Wizard Lake. February 9th, commissioner votes. February 10th, special meeting. February 11th, virtual meeting with strategic meeting planner Dave. February 14th, attended the Play School fundraiser, Dueling Drums and Pianos. February 19th, Commissioner of Oaths. The 20th, Commissioner of Oaths. February 20th, Strategic Planning Meeting. And February 26th, Bingo Paymaster once again. That is my report.
Thank you. Any questions for Councilor Musson? All right, Councilor Reynolds.
I attended all the meetings I was required to attend.
Okay. Anything else? Councilor Watson.
Mine's very short too, because I attended all regularly scheduled meetings and the special meetings. I met with Dave on virtual call, and I attended the rec center on February 19th for their special event. And got to see all the people there I haven't seen for a while.
Was that Family Day event?
Family Day, yeah. When I walked in, everybody's going, "Oh, you're coming back to work?" "No, I'm coming for lunch." And that's it.
Thank you. Questions?
You also did the ad for the paper in there somewhere too, right? That was your month?
Yes.
That's it. Thank you very much.
You did a very nice report.
Yes, it's great.
It was all 22 pages.
It was lengthy.
All right, motion to accept the council reports for information, please.
I will motion to accept the council reports for information.
All in favor? Carried. All right, administrative reports. C.A. O'Donnell.
Thank you, Your Worship, to the council for the month of February. Many happenings in Thorsby this month, and I'm pleased to provide the highlights. So attended the AGM of the 3920 Alliance and was instrumental in assisting in the development of the dissolution resolution to which this council has, I don't want to say resolved, that doesn't sound good, which has voted on. Development permits on the one tax sale lot are all completed. The lot is paid for, title transferred into land titles, which sadly we have no idea when it'll be properly transferred. They're now 6 to 8 months behind at our last query through the lawyer. So our lawyers transacted that and sent everything to land titles, and they developed a very simple process to transfer the land title to the purchaser, and it went very, very smooth. So that was great. 4 residents have queried regarding your water, all resolved with explanation. Dead ends are causing the issue, and we can't flush hydrants in the winter. That's a problem. Dave has tested them, all the quality is within our high standards, and color comes from the dead end issues. So I have a meeting with Leduc Fire on the 17th to discuss a few suggestions, strategies, et cetera, for that sort of thing. But with dead ends, it's not easy and it's not much fun. Residents are finding out the opportunities that were presented to them many years ago to amalgamate their lots for tax purposes are now more complex. So years ago, when they amalgamated 3 or 4 lots for tax purposes, they're now wanting to sell some of those lots, and now they have to create a subdivision. You can't split on a lot if they're all amalgamated for tax. So we're helping them for sure, but they're a little dismayed, and we're walking them through it. It's unfortunate that way back when it was a great idea for taxes, but not so much if you want to sell the properties. The Lions Club has accepted the skateboard park and will pick it up in April, so they have accepted it. After the last council meeting, a notice was sent to them, a request was sent to them. If they were interested, they responded within 10 minutes. So that was good. Attended the strategic plan with the consultant and council administration. Afternoon was full of great ideas, and once formulated, will be passed by council and shared with the residents through the web and social media. Working with planning regarding the Morningstar subdivision, the ASP is in final production so that it satisfies administration before it comes through to council. New website is under production, in fact, a little further than under production now, and will be presented to council at the appropriate time for discussion. Policy review underway. As you know, before the last council left us, before Mayor Hostin was first elected, we have 28 policies that can't be used in this municipality. We're going to have to rescind them all and start again. And we have let the provincial government know that. Government of Alberta OH&S review has started, and that's pretty normal for all the small municipalities since 2025. All the admin team, the leadership team has booked their appointments with the OH&S, and it's a collegial collaborative process. It has nothing to do with fines, it has nothing to do with, any kind of punishment. So as the policies are developed and the government has approved them, they will come to council for ratification, and they'll come in bunches, they won't come all at once, so. And then, that's kind of where we're at right now, so lots to do.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Theodore?
So my understanding is we've sold one of the 3 properties.
That is correct. Well, and it's paid for.
Did we get asking price?
I'll get 22.
What were we asking?
I said I'm in front of me, Cindy, what were we asking for that lot?
We were asking 25, and we could sell it for as low as 20.
Yeah, we got 22.
Any other questions? All right, CFO, Shirley.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
So are they gonna, are you gonna continue to try and sell the other 2 on your own? Or are you gonna turn it to the realtor?
Within 60 days, like we said in a couple council meetings ago, we will turn it over to a realtor. So it's coming up on 60 days.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of figured.
Yeah, we're getting ready to transfer that. We do have, how can I say this? I'm not trying to be facetious or mysterious. If circumstances are right within the next 6 to 8 months, this lot downtown will probably be sold. The one that we had to tear down. Will be sold right away.
All right, CFO Donna, or Cindy, sorry. I had it right the first time.
Hello, council. Okay, so in the month of February to last week, I facilitated the sale of 1 property. We met with Tim regarding council upgrades. I prepared the audit binder in preparation for the audit. I met with the auditors on February 23rd, 2026 to complete audit testing. I have since answered multiple questions from them, and today they were quiet, so I'm hoping those are over until they come next week to test payroll. I might have some questions about that, but other than that, everything's going well. I assisted in processing assessment notices that were mailed out on February 27th. I think that's the earliest we've sent them since I've been here. We had meetings regarding the ice surface project. I attended the strategic planning meeting, started working on the spring budget adjustments, but just got some provincial changes to assessments this morning. So I sent that off to our assessor. Processed the daily bulk water sales. As of March 4th, it was $1,058.46 since we opened, and as of right now, it's over $1,400. We did have a little issue with it yesterday or on the weekend, but it has been fixed as of today. I approved payables and distributed EFT payments, processed payroll, weekly staff meetings, resident consultations, and attended to information requests. Outstanding utilities, $75,141.48, of which just over $4,000 is subject to shut off. Outstanding taxes, $125,291.52, of which $31,476 is up for tax recovery and $92,000 is from 2025 notices. In our operating accounts, as of March 30 or February 28th, we had $938,589.55 compared to $526,420 or $492 last year. And our savings account is the same at just over 1.1 million, and our line of credit is at 0.
Thank you.
I have one quick question, if I may.
Yeah.
I just couldn't remember the date. When do we look at the spring review? When does that happen again? Is that in March or April?
It'll happen probably in the cow in April. Cow or regular in April, it'll come to. Normally we pass the tax bylaw at the meeting in May, and then we get the tax notices out like the next day.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Go ahead.
Cindy,
Sorry.
Cindy, the glitch that happened with the bulk water station, how likely is that to happen again?
I will let Donna answer that? Because she talked to them today when they were here or there.
Thanks, Your Worship, CFO Cindy, through to Councilor Tracy. It was a meter malfunction, so that can happen. So the technician was here this morning, brought a new meter, tested the old one, make sure we ran water. The cam lock section had never quit, and we have water being pulled out of the cam lock section on the other side. But this meter would stop the pump. And so we fixed the meter, tested it about 5 or 6 times today before he left this morning, and all is good. So it was just a meter malfunction.
Yeah, and we've sold water since then, so I can confirm that it is working.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, one of those things. He
Was
was.
it technical?
It was a technical issue. He was kind of surprised by it, but a meter that is new can fail. So he tested the new one, rewired a few. So.
That's all under warranty.
We didn't get charged for today.
What kind of warranty package do we have on that?
They were generous to us today. They warranty the building and they warranty their workmanship, but that's it. So we were like.
That's it?
Yeah.
Nothing on the equipment? Wow.
And they're like that to everybody. We looked at 3 or 4 suppliers. They're pretty much all the same. And Full Point's got the best reputation. So.
Did you have a
And they cost us
question,
$500,000?
Councilor?
Give or take.
Approximately, yeah, give or take, yeah.
$500,000 with no warranty. I have a question for you, Cindy. This keeps coming up into my head here. Outstanding utilities of $75,000.
Well, that's because
sorry.
we bill, sorry, Kevin, we bill on the 31st.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so high, because that's the day the billing goes out. So nobody has paid their bill.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the other number seems to be staying steady at about $4,000. $4,000 is subject to shut off. That almost just bringing in my head that every month when we look at this, it's same thing, or am I seeing something different here?
It varies a little bit, but mostly it's around $4,000. It can be up as high as 4,500. It just depends. Whatever's 45 days in arrears is what is subject to shut off. And I guarantee you there will be no shut offs, because everybody comes in to pay their bill on the day we're going to shut them off. And they only pay the minimum that they need to shut off. So they only pay the amount that's in arrears. Like the part that's 45 days over is all that they pay. So sometimes that's $10, sometimes that's $25, even though their whole entire bill is $300. They only have to pay the amount that's in arrears to avoid shut off.
No.
And they all do that. 95% of the people just pay the little peeny amount, and then eventually it catches up to them. But yeah, that's just how the bylaw is set up. So
Can we look at maybe changing that bylaw?
we can, but
I know what you're saying, Cindy, because I know a lot of small towns people do that. Just write it. It's like paying taxes, pay the bare minimum, start the process all over again. But is there something that we can do with the bylaw regarding that?
Well, you could. I mean, the cities are on the same kind of bylaws, right? Because we've got to be careful when we can and can't shut off water, which everyone knows. And so a lot of times, it's usually the same people.
it's the same.
That's what it is. And so you could change it, but then you're in collection and you're shutting off water. And you can't shut water off on a Friday, that sort of thing. So I hear what you're saying. It would be an easier collection, but we're kind of running standard with collection because it's a necessary life utility.
And a lot of them are renters, and the water bill has to be in the owner's name, and the owners aren't forwarding the bill to the renters.
Mm-hmm.
So they only know when they get a thing on their door how much they owe, because their landlords aren't sending them the bills. Once we get the new software and we go to e-billing, we can put in the renter's email too, and the bill can go to the owner and the renter.
Oh, that's fantastic, because I've seen that happen since I moved here, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is frustrating. Even the renters get frustrated because they say, you know, I've asked for the bills and they don't ever give them to me. And so when we put the green thing on their doorknob, that's the only way they know how much they owe for water. And they're already 45 days behind and they can't afford to pay the 300 to get caught up. So they're just caught in this cycle, right? So they get charged a late fee. It's like 10%. It's not cheap to be late.
No, it's not.
And then how is it going on, with that new software package? Last time we approved it in the budget and then you said it got delayed.
Well, it's December 1st is when we're starting implementation.
Okay.
Yeah.
December?
Yeah, December of 26. So we'll be up and running mid 27.
Just last time we had talked, you said there was a delay on it.
Well, that is the delay. We were supposed to start in August.
Okay.
But because we took time to approve it, it got bumped because everybody has to switch software right now. So first come, first serve.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you, Cindy.
You're welcome.
Public Works, Chris.
All right.
Thanks for wading through all this.
For the month of February 2026, we continued snow removal for the town, continued sand and salt for the streets in town, continued clearing sidewalks that we're responsible for. Casey and Cole have continued training with Dave at the water treatment plant and covering on call for the weekends. Continued, that was repetitious there. Sorry, I'll skip that one. Dealing with resident issues ongoing and continuing equipment maintenance. Pretty straightforward month, nothing really new.
That's a good thing.
That's all I have.
Chris, can I ask a question? Were you looking at some more methods of removing snow, or looking at different equipment and stuff like that?
We certainly are. I mean, I know what I want, which is the blower attachment for the, choose your words, Chris, loader, the blower attachment for the loader. We're going, we clear it as fast as we can.
Well, I know that, but
That we have. So in order to do it faster, we would need new equipment, yes. Well, one piece of equipment, literally. So, and then we contract out the dump trucks. But I think with how much time and how much fuel and manpower time as well goes into running the skid steer and the loader to clear the snow, the greater windrows, I think we'll come out ahead using the contractor as well, to be honest with you. And it would drop our time from 7 to 10 days, depending on how much snow we get down to. I would humbly say around 3 days to go into town. Okay. I could windrow the whole town in 3 days, no problem. I'm confident of that. But again, what I do in 2 hours takes 6 to 8 hours for them to clear. So,
no, I just wondered, I know you were looking at different systems and stuff like that.
Yeah, we are. Okay. I'm hoping for next winter, but again, it's not entirely up to me, so.
Well, I don't know what's gonna happen here, but, from what I've seen from some of the assessments are pretty high. We might have some money, I don't know.
Yeah, I would like it.
That's a conversation for Cindy. All right.
Yeah. Well, and it could be about leasing a blower.
Yeah.
I haven't looked into that, to be honest.
Okay.
What I did do with the blower, I had contacted Calmar and made an effort to contact them so that I could meet them and get some education on their blower and their experience with it and what they know about it. And I actually never got a call back. So.
Okay. That's sort of what I was getting at. Okay.
Yes.
Thanks. Any other questions for Chris? Okay. Public Works, Donnie, you wanna go through that for us, please?
Your worship, yes, I would like to do Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec, sorry, what did I say?
Public Works.
We just did that, didn't we?
It's been a long day.
Been a very long day.
Month of February, and Kelly's little indisposed tonight, so membership's active are 181 and our Spas is 14. Our program totals from February 9th to March 5th, the Lego Club is 54, the Stay and Play 166. It's really staying up there, the Stay and Play is pretty impressive. Homeschool Hub, is 11, but a lot of poor weather and very cold weather. February 11th, the Roving Energy Program site visit and meeting on February 19th. 13th to 15th, we hosted the U15 hockey tournament for Leduc Minor Hockey. February 16th, we hosted the Free Family Day activities, ongoing meetings regarding arena floor replacement, and I'll just comment on that only because I don't know any more than you do at this point. Leduc County Council discussed this in their in-camera workshop this morning again, and I don't have any notice other than that. So this will be their second or third time discussing it. They just wanted our building assessment, and we found the 2018 building and roof assessment, so they wanted that. And so that's where we're sitting. I can't offer you any opinions or any more than that, as much as I'd like to, because I don't know anything either. So we're just waiting. In building operations, the arena operators replaced a broken window in the dance studio, and moving forward, we'll be replacing it with acrylic. We certainly don't need glass that breaks all over the other floor. Why can't I think of what it's called? The which? The field house, thank you. Yeah, I'm like you, Chris, come on, Donna, think. Working with, Kelly's working with Stantec on the lifestyle planning for the ice plant, that's just normal. And February 26th, installed refurbished cardio equipment in the weight room through Live United. Basically what Kelly did was the Elevation Discover SE3 cross trainer. It has current hours are 853, life expectancy 20, retail value 8, and purchase price $21.50. Now this is all the new equipment from McEwen again, right?
Yeah.
This isn't new.
The new to us, yeah.
But it may as well be new.
Yeah.
It pretty much is. The CLSC Integrity upright bike, and current hours on it were 1678, which is actually nothing. Life expectancy of 20,000, retail value of 4,500. We paid $750 for it. And Life Fitness Power Mill SE3. I'm a farm kid. I would think it's grinding grain, but apparently it's not. Current hours 869. Life expectancy 25,000. Retail value 15. We paid 2,500 for it. So we're getting top of the line equipment in that gym, and it is busy, which is pretty exciting. So that's the status report for recreation.
Thank you. Any questions? No? All right, public comments, but back, sorry.
I need a motion to approve, accept the
You're very correct. So motion to accept administration reports for information.
I'll make that motion to accept the administration reports as read.
Thank you. All in favor? That is carried. Okay, Irene, go right ahead. Thank you for waiting for us.
That's okay. Unfortunately, I haven't attended the last couple of meetings, so I don't really know what has been going on. But one point is, and it's a new point now, is one of my great-granddaughters graduates this year, and she's upset, along with others, that they have to go to Palma instead of Thorsby. Was there no other way that we could have waited to do that work after the grad? I don't know.
I'll happily address that.
I was going to say, I will see that I worked there for the grads and
I'll
everything.
stand down.
Yes. I understand that. I worked with the grads. I've been with the grads for 15 years there. But no, this work was not something we wanted to plan. We had no idea it was going to happen. And to delay it another 2 months because the grads wanted that space, it would not happen because it would delay our hockey season into December. And if we try to delay hockey into December, all those people that rent our ice from the arena, like Leduc and the cities and the tournaments that come in, they would be gone. we would not have any revenue for over a year. They won't come back in December, they've already looked for ice someplace else, so it would not be feasible to prolong it for 2 more months, just so the grads, which is an unfortunate incident right now, could use the building.
Well, couldn't it have been delayed a couple of months?
No.
And done it in the summer months when hockey is...
Well, oh no, I mean, if people would read the proposal out there, we have to start this work at the end of March.
It's a 5 months, like the amount of work that they're doing, Irene, is going right down to the base. The timeline is a minimum of 5 months, which is why the decision unfortunately had to be made. And I have a daughter graduating this year as well. And I think that there's definitely some students that are upset, but there's also some, my daughter being one of them, that are like, hey, we still get to have our grad, now we all get to ride in limos. So it's a catch-22, but unfortunately it would have cost.
But as I say, I haven't been here the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, happy to say that.
I wasn't aware of exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've got 3 great-granddaughters graduating this year.
Oh, wow.
I mean, unfortunately, it's
Yeah.
an unfortunate incident that came out of nowhere. I mean, if they would all the floor in the arena has to be taken out. It's not a small project, and we wouldn't have the time.
Yeah, I understand that.
Like I said, I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
But it's a good question, because I think it's one a lot of people are wondering about, are not coming here like yourself to get answers, so I appreciate you.
I understand what she's asking, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I may, Your Worship.
Yes, go ahead.
Give Irene a little more context too. The grad class was notified by Kelly that we may have a problem.
Yeah.
Then they were notified again when we knew we had a problem. So we were hoping we would. We were hoping the ice could have stayed. It takes a good solid 4.5, 5 weeks for the pad to cure. And the new brine pipes will last probably 80 years because the old ones, that technology is gone. It's done. So that's part of the issue. So it's good to now be on video.
Yes.
We're not very happy about it either.
No.
But
But unfortunately, like when you say there's notices put out, I can't read and I can't write.
it's gonna cost a great amount of money to get that fixed.
You can call us anytime, Irene. You can say, hey, what's going on here?
You can oil it, you're like.
Wendy,
Nobody should yell at me.
Wendy,
Forgive me if this is not part of this, but I'm going to say it's not appropriate. If it's not allowed here, please tell me.
We'll just do that.
First of all, I'd like to compliment the snow removal. You guys do a great job. Sunday morning when I got on 50th Avenue, I was so surprised it was bare, no ice, no snow. It was beautiful. But where I live, I don't know what you call my road, and I know the town doesn't think alleys are important. But the one little alley where I have access to drive on, and Debbie and I are the only, we have to use that to get exit. It is very slippery. I know you can't help it. Tonight I almost was going to go on Debbie's drive. A couple of times I've almost gone in her front lawn. We're scared that she's going to find in West Tower building. I don't know what you can do to help her. But it's just, us two have no choice.
Right.
We have to use that little.
I think all the roads need a bit of TLC.
I know, but that one's really.
Yeah, I walked here tonight, from my house to here. I fell twice. Once was outside my gate.
Well, I
And
walked.
the other was down near Hoffman.
Yeah, in between the meetings, I walked to the post office and back. At the corner, I don't know my streets, I'm sorry, but on the main street, on the corner where bumper to bumper and Remax are, and across the street, the sidewalks are there. But at the very corner where the sidewalk is,
On the bumper to bumper side or on the other side? Wendy?
bumper to bumper, it's really bad ice on that corner of the sidewalk where there's just no business there.
The water has no place to run. It literally has no place.
There was like,
You'd have to rebuild the street.
10 feet where it was unsafe to, and on the other side, it was on the street side.
Everything tonight coming here is just ice, there's a few grass patches. And I am so mad that I can't see, or maybe I should decide, all these vehicles pass me, and not one of them stopped to see where I wanted to go. And I'm the little old lady there with a cane, trying to find my way here.
That's not very nice.
I will give you my phone number, and I will help you get here, but I want to wish you all a happy Easter and whatever. I might not be able to be at the next meeting. I have a duration of 4 eye surgeries to have done this year, and I start my first one on March 18th. So there's going to be stretches where I can't walk. So I'll come when I can, and I'll try to look after you when I can.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, well, thank you, Wendy.
You can, if you let me know, or let Donna know which alley you need, I'll see what I can do. One thing.
I don't know what you call it. It's in between 46th Street and 49 Avenue.
Is this when you turn that corner at West Tower there, Chris?
Right behind you.
Yeah, go up to
The one issue that did happen that I didn't bring up that nobody knew about was we lost our snowplow. What should have been simple ended up being 2 weeks. I didn't have a snowplow, so, and it's just about trying to get one silly little hose. And you'd think it would be easy, and it wasn't. So, you got the snowplow back as of yesterday. So I was down the snowplow, I'm not using that as an excuse, but that's the only way we do alleys with the snowplow on the truck. Low graders going down the alleys, nor could we,
Well, it's not so much snow, it's mostly ice, but it's just from where we have to park to 46th Street. It's very slippery. And we have opened up the storm drain there for you, so the water is flowing.
So we won't charge you for plowing the alley then?
We're plowing.
We'll look at it.
You just made the stretch, but if anybody does come to check, I want you to not put your vehicle in four-wheel drive because some of us don't have that. So pretend that you're a car and you go around like I do.
Okay, we'll pretend we're Wendy.
All right, anything else? Okay, meeting adjourned.
I don't like the complaint.
You're not, you're fine.
Got that on
I
plug,
don't
Jesse?
want to be sure.
That you don't want to report it.